Greetings, friends! Over the past few years, my family and I have been here on this property trying to turn it into a homestead. There's so many different things that we've had to do to work with the property to turn it into a place that is more productive and producing more food. Things like having to use an excavator to carve out portions of the slope terrain so that way we can have garden spaces. Also, using permaculture principles like working with the animals to help us to develop high quality soil. And another project that we've had to do, and it's been quite labor intensive, is since our property is mostly wooded, we've had to remove and drop a number of trees so that way we can have more open spaces to easily move our animals around and also have more areas to grow things in, like right back here, which was a huge project, huge undertaking, where I removed about 100 trees. And now that space we've been using to move our broiler chickens around. Also, we're growing things like tomatoes, cucumbers in the high tunnel there, and I've also been able to put new trees in there, fruit trees that actually produce more food for us and for our animals. However, a result of having to remove all those trees and drop those trees, we were left with a lot of branches and things to deal with. We recycle the wood, the logs, as firewood to heat our home, but a lot of the branches can be difficult to work with. So one of the things that I had to do to clean all that up is burn them. And man, is that labor intensive and time consuming. So one of the things that I was thinking, why don't we get a chipper, shredder, something that we can use to grind all that up and reuse it, because we're already going all to different places to buy mulch to put around our trees. So instead of having to go somewhere to buy it, why don't we create our own? So finally we got a shredder to do that with, and that's what we're going to use today. So I got this chipper with the shredder here from DR Power, done right. If we're gonna use it, we're gonna bust it out today to actually start making some mulch ourselves. So we got this pile right over here and this one right over here that we're gonna work on, just shredding it, chipping it, and shredding it all up. And I'm gonna be using this tool for the very first time. I'm super excited about that. So hopefully no more burning up limbs. We can just shred them and do it right to get this job done right. But before we do, I have some ducks, some ducklings right here that we're gonna move, need to move, so that way they're not disturbed by all the noise, and we can move them on to fresh grass like I'd like to do each day. Let's go ahead and move these little guys. All right, now that our ducklings are safe and out of the way, right up there, let's go ahead and unbox our shredder. All right, look at there. Oh, 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 oh. So this one was boxed up pretty good, and it's also bolted down here. And while I'm getting the tool to do that, there's also another box, because this is box 1 of 2. So we need 2 of 2. All right, then go ahead and roll it out, or maybe not. So they got it strapped in down here too, so let's go ahead and loosen these up. Now we're out. All right. And the instruction manual. Well, I'm one of those guys. When I see an instruction manual, I see a whole other foreign language that I'm like, I don't understand that. Well, I'm gonna go get my wife. She's really good at helping me to interpret these instruction manuals. Let's go get her. Buenos dias, mi amor. Good morning. So I have this instruction manual here, and I know this isn't the case with all guys. Some guys might love reading instruction manuals. I don't know. If you're one of those guys, let me know in the comment section below, because I'm not. So would you be willing to help me out with, it looks pretty simple setting up the DR Power chipper shredder, but it does have an instruction manual there. I want to make sure we do it right, because their motto is done right. So if you could help me out with instructions and getting this set up so we can go ahead and start chipping and shredding some things out there.
Oh yeah, because we got that whole pile of limbs up there that need to be done, don't we?
Yep. So you up for it?
Okay, I'll be your little instruction girl.
Thanks. And while she's browsing through the instruction manual, I'm gonna go ahead and gear up and get ready for this job. Alright, so you got it all figured out?
Well, I figured out we have all the nuts and screws and everything that we need. And, you know, I'm just reading along the instructions.
So what's our first step?
Our first step is to remove the 2 shipping nuts that are temporarily securing the hammer mill housing.
Alright, let's do it. Actually, what is that part?
Oh, here, let me show you. This is the housing right here, and it has 1 nut here and 1 nut on the other side that are just temporary.
Okay.
Right there. Okay, now we'll take the flywheel housing and the hopper and attach it to the shredder. Then we gotta check for some gaps, and I'm not seeing any gaps.
At this point, I want to mention that it would be really beneficial to have a couple tools as you're putting this together. A set of Allen wrenches, a socket set, and a flathead screwdriver.
And the instruction manual does give a list of what tools you need to put it all together. And this is the chipper chute. There we go.
Alrighty, we now have it fully assembled and ready to put this thing to use. But before we do, I do want to mention that it is a Briggs & Stratton engine for those of you who are interested into all the engines and specs and all that kind of stuff. That's as far as I'm going to go though. And we do have to put our oil and gas in there. But just a word of caution. Make sure you read everything over to make sure you put the right fuel in here. Because one time I got a mini cultivator and it was a gas engine, but instead I put in the 2-cycle mix into it, and then I was trying to get it going and wondering why it wasn't working properly. But then come to find out, it required just regular gas. So lesson learned a little bit the hard way. So make sure you put the right fuel in. All right, now that we're fueled up, it's time to start it up. This shredder has enough muscle in the engine to cut a branch up to 3 inches in diameter. So we have a branch right here. Let's just see how thick this one is. Not quite through. We're gonna give it a shot. We're gonna push it a little bit. All right, so we just got a little test run there. I'm actually gonna move it to a little more convenient area for where it is spitting out our chips here. Look at this, guys. That is perfect. This is cedar here, and it's actually a nice insect repellent. So you can put stuff like this here, wherever your dogs may be. It'll repel things like ticks and fleas, and we will be able to use this in so many different ways. I actually don't want it right here in this area. Just like I said, it was just a test run. So I'm gonna go ahead and move it over to where we can just kind of get a good pile of some chips here. So let's go ahead and move it and show you how easy it is to move this thing. So just rock it back. The handle's right here. Just roll it right over. And then we're gonna wanna create a pile, probably somewhere like right in here. So that way it'll shoot out right there. Here we're putting our branches in, but right here you can put your yard waste, your leaves, your grass clippings, and things like that at the top. All right, so let's start it up again and let's get some work done, because I have this pile here and this pile here, and I want to take it from branches to being that nice chips that you just saw. So let's get it some stuff done. And there was this one branch that was pretty long, but it was really neat to see it just chip it away, no problem. Check out all these chips that we have right here. That's some good stuff that we can reuse. And I don't know if you remember what it looked like before, but all this had branches all in there. And now it is down to this. Whew! It's just a little warm outside. I know this isn't the most ideal time to do a project like this, but sometimes you got to do projects when you can do them. And this DR Power Premier 300 chipper with the shredder did a great job. And cedar trees, which I was doing mostly of, the cedar branches, they have a lot of branches on the tree. So I really put this thing to work right here on this pile. I still have another pile left to go right on the other side right here. But it looks like we're gonna have to come back to that another time. And over the next few days, I continued to put this chipper shredder to work, chipping up branches from various types of wood, as well as shredding leaves. I must admit, I'm a newbie to using a chipper. However, using the DR Power Premier 300 chipper shredder made me feel really comfortable. And even my wife felt comfortable using this machine.
Well, driving skid steer, chainsaw, a whole bunch of other tools. It's nice to know that I have yet another tool on the homestead that I can
And the shredder on this unit does an excellent job slicing up leaves into tiny fine pieces that can be ready to use in your compost or to be directly used in your garden beds to add more organic matter real quick, real easy. And one of the things that I do in our garden areas is I put leaf mulch on top of the soil around our plants to help them to maintain and retain the moisture in and around the plant's root system to protect them from the heat. I also added some of the fine shavings from the shredder and put them around the plants as well. And in addition to using the shredded material in my garden, I can also use wood chips from the chipper. Aged wood chips does an excellent job of helping your garden and your plants, both in the summer and in the winter. In the summertime, they do an even better job of helping the soil to retain the moisture in there to protect them from the heat. And in the winter, the wood chips can help protect your plant's root system from the cold. But my garden isn't the only thing that can benefit from me having this chipper shredder here on my homestead. In addition to the garden, our animals can also benefit from it. We raise goats here, and one of the things that they like to do is they like to eat leaves from various trees. So when I'm maintaining the property by cutting off branches of trees or culling some trees, we'll take those branches and we'll set them inside the goats area, and they'll just go to town with eating up the various branches. But once they're done, they like to leave the wood there. They don't eat the wood, for those of you who don't know. So what I can do now is I can delimb the main logs, and then we'll slice the logs up to use in our wood stove. But the branches I can now put in our chipper to chip those away and reuse them in various places around here, whether it be the garden or also for our chickens. I love using wood chips for our chickens. They really love just scratching away at it, especially aged chips that have been there for a while, because worms and various other bugs and things that we can't even see like to go inside there, and they'll just scratch away and just scratch. But they'll also add their manure to that, fertilizing it, and then you can use it once again back in garden spaces. So those are just some of the ways that we plan to use it. And you could also use them, the wood chips, for like their nesting material in their nesting box where they lay their eggs. One of the things that I recommend not to using, even though I was cutting up cedar branches earlier, you don't want to use cedar wood chips with your chickens. There's something about the cedar that is poisonous to chickens, so keep the cedar away. You can use a lot of different other woods, but not the cedar. One of the things that I've learned during my time as a homesteader is I can't do everything myself. However, I've learned the more that I equip myself with the right tools and right resources, it better enables me to take care of the things myself and not have to rely on others to outsource resources and materials. Like mulch, for example, and wood chips. If I can have a chipper shredder like this one, I can create and recycle the materials that I have here on this property and not have to go somewhere else to get them, where I would have to spend time in going to get it as well as money. So the chipper shredder will help me to better maintain and recycle materials here on my homestead, as well as it can help me to save money. And whether you're on a homestead or you're in a suburban area where you're trying to maintain your property, having a tool like this I think will be really beneficial. But if you're on a homestead and you're trying to better maintain and work with the environment, I think this resource can really be a big benefit, and I look forward to using it here in so many other ways. So I got some more work to do. Let's get back to work.